Hey, how's it going? It's me. You know who it is. You know what video you clicked on. It's GSP. How are you? It's the beginning of the new year. Decided that I'd upload something because, hell, my channel's dead. Um, I haven't posted anything on here for a very long time, especially war game related. I looked when I logged in to record this, and the last game I played was last year in August. So, yeah, it's been a while since I played for. I mean, this is the game that I've spent like 5K hours on playing. So me not playing this game is kind of weird. I've been playing World of Warships actually. That's my go-to game right now, which is very surprising. I really like that game. Um, I kind of like the whole. Um, I kind of like the whole like naval aspect because one of my favorite games when I was a kid was Battle Stations Pacific. Don't know if many people have heard that about that game before. But Battle Stations Pacific was a great game. I played Battle Stations Midway for the console, and then Battle Stations Pacific, and that was kind of something um, that sparked my interest into World of Warships because I like, there's very few games that actually allow people to kind of control their own, ship and kind of the World War II format. And like Battle Stations Midway was like that only one like kind of niche game that really did that. Um, there really wasn't a lot um, before that, at least that I remember. There really wasn't much of anything. So, and then there's some other simulator games now. There's some other simulator games or whatever. But World of Warships is kind of like it's free to play. Um, it's free to play, and it's a good time waster. I think I've spent a good amount of time on it. I went down the U.S. battleship line because I'm a patriot. Um, and besides the Montana, I don't have any other tier 10, but I'm working on the Des Moines with the Buffalo, and then I'm working on let's see, what else am I working on? The French battleships, and then after that, I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing. Probably the Japanese battleships, maybe. Um, but yeah, I enjoy playing the game. It's something that I want to get better at. Something that I want to learn to be like competitive and play, at a high level. Because I want to do that with like there's very few games that I actually want to explore that option. But World of Warships is just like that kind of game where if you I feel like I've seen people that after you learn so much, you can really carry games, and that's kind of when like I want to be in the position to be able to do that. So it's just um, learning that part, learning the very small amounts about the game that really helps you become a better player. So that's something that I've been kind of wanting to learn. It's just with free to play games, I feel like most of the time it's like the amount of time spent in game, which is something that I've said for Wargame as well. That you know, play a lot of games, and you'll eventually get better. Same with World of Warships. I only have like 1,000, like maybe 1,200 games or something like that. I don't know about hours, but I think it's about 1,200 games battles. So it's kind of something that I'm not sure if at that point I should be making a breakthrough at being a better player because I think I am. I think I'm an above average player currently when it comes to playing that game with all the different tiers and whatever. But I think I'm above average, and I want to be good. But that's what I've been playing really, enjoying that. Looking forward to you know new ship lines in that game and stuff like that, and kind of just getting better. in general. Um, let's see what else. Movies. There's not really too much to talk about war game, really. At least for me, there's really not too much because of the game kind of course, being on the decline for as long as it has been, and then um, just the fact that there's no Eugene's kind of not doing too hot with the information about their workers and stuff like that. So right now the game is kind of it's dead in a sense, but there's still people who play. So it's still kind of nice that there's still people. I can still find games and such, and it didn't take me too long to get into this game. Um, so it was that's nice. Uh, so let's see what else. Yeah, I mean, if like the people who are watching this, there's probably not going to be very many. Um, but I'll like I mean, what to expect. This is a 10v10 game. This it's not nothing too exciting is going on, and of course I'm playing support anyway, so mm, I'm just trying to make sure everything in the map goes well. I guess is my goal. Playing this support deck, trying to make sure everything goes well and I can help every flank. Kind of the goal. I hope. I'm not really too big on points because I'm obviously not even close to leading in points. Um, but so yeah, been playing World of Warships, enjoying that, enjoying um, really just being able to get on and play something and not have to gather and play with other people. It's kind of a solo dolo game most of the time. I mean, I have people that I'll play it with, but like War Game is kind of a game where I really don't like to play alone. I have to play with someone. It's a game that's I think that War Games, like, the quality of the game is a lot better whenever you're playing with people. Um, because it's just kind of the game where communication and but World of Warships is kind of that solo game where you can just kind of chill by yourself and you know you might have a good game while your team doesn't have a good game and you'll lose. But that's kind of like the whole like MOBA aspect. Same in War Game where you can have a good game in War Game, KD wise, and then still lose. I mean that's perfectly possible and it happens all the time. So it's it's really good at just being a solo game for me. But it's again I'm sure it gets better with people. Um, but yeah, I hope everyone's New Year as well. Been working a new job recently. Enjoying everything that comes along with starting in a new workplace, which is meeting, learning everything. And I hope if anyone's going through learning or going to school or everything, hope everything's well. Sorry, the microphone's a bit messed up. Um, oh damn, my Jurgens got attackums because I didn't move them. Yeah. Oh well. I'm not paying attention like that guy is, unfortunately. I'll shoot a fob for now. Um, but let's see. Anyways, if anyone's actually seen any good movies or TV shows recently, me and Victor have been watching a couple TV shows. Victor Faust, if you guys didn't know, watch some good TV shows. It's kind of my other hobby. If I'm not playing World of Warships, I'm probably either watching something on Netflix or watching um, a movie illegally, of course. Don't pay for movies. Who the fuck pays for movies? Um, what are these Kylers? No, they're M1 Abrams, so I'm not Killing Eves. Um, but yeah, I've watched. We rewatched Mindhunter. Mindhunter is a fantastic show. I've always been fascinated by criminal dramas and criminal shows that either documentaries or backgrounds and that kind of sort. But Mindhunter is a great show. Um, and then I've watched. Let's see what else. How about watching Luther? So it's again another take on crime, and in this case, it's British crime, which is different than, of course, American dramas, just because of how things are run differently in Britain, and with weapons and not having access to firearms very easily. It's kind of, if you're in Britain and you see a gun, it's kind of, it pretty much only has to be like police, or like specific hunting, you know, things like that. Uh, yeah, no, it's a great detective show. It's got Idris Elba as a star. Um, and Idris Elba is a great standalone actor in the first place, so he makes the TV show really well. Um, he has good performance. The story's pretty decent. It's realistic. It's not one of those shows where you kind of wonder if that would happen in real life, or you kind of, because I'm really critical when it comes to shows, when it comes to real life, storylines, when it comes to um, just being realistic. And when shows are completely, realistic, or I'm really, whenever I watch something like that, I really try to. It's not that I try; it's just natural for me to nitpick, details or inaccuracies or something like that. Uh, or just like when I can't, because I can't watch non-realistic like action movies, or like not like tasteful action movies. So I find John Wick as kind of a tasteful, realistic play on action, and I find movies like um, let's see, for example, let's say what I really kind of pick and choose my action movies kind of carefully, so I don't know a good example of a bad movie that I watched recently. Or The Punisher. That's decent. The Punisher series on Netflix. I find that show extremely ridiculous on how unrealistic it is. And I watched that show for, let's say, like 5 episodes, and after the 5 episodes, I dropped it just because of, if a show isn't even close to being realistic, then like I can't take it seriously. And I have to take something. I have to take it like kind of serious, if I'm gonna watch it. Um, yeah, I thought that movie was awful, or show was awful. I thought Bird Box was also awful. Um, Quiet Place, that movie was awful. There's a lot of movies I mean, I see a lot of movies, um, and I don't know why those movies came up, but Bird Box was kind of recent just because of how popular it is currently with media, and I see it all the time on Reddit advertisements that like Bird Box. Oh my gosh. And it's really the exact opposite for me, because uh, earlier this year, um, I believe in 2018, we had A Quiet Place come out, and it's kind of the same specific uh, creature kind of senses. It's oddly specific, whether it's whether it's that you can't make a lot of noise, or you can't look at something, or next thing it's going to be you can't hear, you can't use your sound of of hearing, or something, it's always going to be something funny. But I thought Quiet Place was just something that was extremely it didn't, like, it's one of those movies where you don't have to be a fucking genius to live, and their plot, the way they set up the movie is that kind of give you a quick run through is that if you make a lot of loud noise, this creature's going to know where you are and it's going to come just instantly fucking take you apart. Which, okay, as me being that person, I want to put myself in that situation and see what I'd think of to be able to survive. So I put myself in a situation, and I remember it's very easy to make noisemakers or distractions or to make noises otherwhere else. We've seen this in so many other movies and so many other different forms of entertainment where making noise or doing something just is like you're being able to distract someone. So being able to, if you know the specific ways that the plot, in this case, you can't make noise. So specifically making noise is bad. Noise is bad. How do I not make noise, and how do I be able to use that as to my advantage? So that's simple. Back in World War II and back in Vietnam, um, both sides of the conflict used noise-making devices or tripwires or anything to set off, flares or anything to know movements. In this case, you can use those specific things to make noise or to cause a distraction. So if you do make a noise or if you do something very loud, it's easily able to be, just it's easy. It's easy for it to be a distraction, I guess. And I pick apart those movies, and same with like Bird Box, right? As soon as Bird Box started, they kind of, I'll give them this. The first thought I was, if you can't look, well, what if you use a camera, or what if you use your phone to look in the first place? And that was the first thing, and they quieted the viewers with that because at the very end, or not at the kind of in the middle of the movie or at the beginning, they show they have someone with the same thought, and I like that. Anyways, so but in the end, the movie was just kind of it, it obviously it's one of those things where you end up thinking there's going to be a sequel just because of how like left open the movie is, because we never see whatever is causing whatever is the creature or thing that's tormenting these people, that's not making them able to look and like kill themselves or whatever. We never see that. So and then it's just kind of like left open. You can't look. You can sometimes look, but you can't look. It's just those kind of movies I just end up like walking away from and just being like, whatever. That movie wasn't anything special. And I find that pretty often with movies that are kind of have the reused plot lines. I'm trying to think of a movie that I've seen recently that I like. The Mule. The Mule was a. It wasn't interesting. It was okay. So let me preface this. The Mule is a movie directed and acted by Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood, the famous Western famous actor, old now, very old. This movie actually made me kind of sad of how old Clint Eastwood looks in this movie. It looks depressing because for me, Clint Eastwood has been one of my favorite actors, and he's directed some great movies as well in his lifetime. He's acted in some great movies. He's been in one of my favorite movies, Kelly's Heroes, World War II movie that is my favorite World War II movie I've ever seen, next to like Saving Private Ryan, I guess. But yeah, Kelly's Heroes is great. He was in that. And so, yeah, it made me kind of sad because he looks really old. He looks like he's about to pass. But anyways, um, he becomes a drug mule for the cartel, which, in my mind, having nothing to lose and just trying to make as much money as you can before you pass away to give on to your kids sounds like something that's very noble. And I mean, even though you have to kind of base your morals in a place to where, even though he's doing something highly illegal and highly, ruins people's lives, drugs, and he's doing it to make a better means for his family. You have to kind of like put yourself in like his shoes, or put yourself kind of, everyone has their own moral, the way they're brought up, the way they think about things in different situations. But I think like if you really put yourself in, like being able to kind of, every movie I watch, I like to put myself in people's situations or in their perspective, and what kind of choices would you make if you were in this person's position? And I think that's pretty important when it comes to movies. And I think that's what people, when movie makers or filmmakers want you, when you watch their movie, I think that's most of the time. Some movies is different, but some movies like documentaries or any type of character study movie, like Shame's a great kind of character study movie where you learn about the character being Michael Fassbender, in kind of an emotional set drama about himself and his sexual exploitations in his life. But that's off topic. But anyways, character study movies. I feel like this one was interesting. Um, it had a little bit uh, kind of left over when it comes to not closure, but kind of fulfillment in the movie. I mean, he ends up, spoilers, he ends up just getting caught by the police after trafficking, like a lot of cocaine and shit like that, which I guess is, he just goes to jail after him like rekindling his relationship with his ex-wife, which was, the way they played up the relationship and the way the movie kind of played up his relationship with his kids and his family, made it kind of, emotional, kind of tugged at the heartstrings. But at the end, he just ended up going to jail after rekindling his friendship or whatever with his, wife, and he made money and paid for, I guess, a little bit of his daughter's stuff. I mean, there wasn't like he hid money away for his kids. There was nothing said like that in the movie. So it was an okay movie. Take a watch, The Mule. Um, it wasn't anything too special. Um, but it also, it's also worth a watch. It's not a bad movie for sure. But I like doing this. I like, it's something, if war game is kind of a dead game, but I love movies. I love TV shows. I love talking about movies, and like, I don't really talk to many people about, film or anything like that, just because it's kind of, I just don't really have people to watch that are so in depth like me when it comes to movies. I like talking about them and watching them, of course. So if you guys, either have seen any movies or recommend some movies for me to watch, then let me know, because I'll definitely end up watching them. Some movies just aren't my take. Um, I'm pretty much open to everything in movies and film, besides maybe what if I really stay away from? I really stay away from comedies a lot, actually. The last comedy I saw was Blockers with John Cena with some buddies of mine, and we walked out of that movie just because it was pretty awful. Um, but I try to stay away from comedies, but any type of character movie or like anything besides that, I usually try to watch. I think up next, I'm gonna try to watch pretty soon here. Let's see, what I want to watch next. Coming up, there's some movies at the end of last year's film that or last year's kind of theater releases that I wasn't able to see. Uh, but yeah, after the Mule, I'm looking forward to Godzilla. Godzilla looks fucking dope. I really enjoyed the first Godzilla, the new series of Godzilla movies in the whole universe with King Kong and stuff like that. I really enjoyed the first one. I thought the it got a bit of a bad rap than what it should have. Um, but I've always been a fan of Godzilla, so I guess bias being a fan. But I didn't think the first movie was as bad as people said it was. I thought it was a little slow, and I thought they kind of missed the mark on the important parts of the movie, which is being Godzilla. But it also made the movie, I think, the ending concluded so well, and kind of was the last part of the movie was a lot better. And I feel like people walked out of that movie be, like like a lot happier because of the way that the movie played out. The whole not really being able to see a lot of the monsters fighting and not being able to really kind of see what's going on, and then the ending being what it was. I really enjoyed that. That you got to see everything you wanted to see. You just had to wait till at the end of the movie to see, Godzilla fighting the other guys. And in this movie, I think it's going to take a part of that movie, but I feel like half the new Godzilla movie is going to be, a lot of fighting because it's introducing a lot of those characters that we haven't seen before in that universe. So I feel like it's going to be really good. What else? Glass. Glass is a big movie. I think that it's going to be a big movie, and I hope it does well because I really liked Split and I really liked Unbreakable. Saw Unbreakable a couple years ago, just as a weird movie that M. Night Shyamalan made, and I like Bruce Willis. And M. Night Shyamalan's kind of hit or miss when it comes to movies. I really like The Village, um, and not The Village, and what is it? What's that movie called? I forgot the Mel Gibson movie, Sign, or whatever. Yeah. But Glass, it's a story where Unbreakable and Split. I remember hearing the murmurings, or after uh, watching Split, that Bruce Willis was in the same universe, and I remember reading something that they were in the same universe, and I thought it was super interesting. So the third movie, the trilogy, is having Glass, which if you haven't seen Unbreakable, it's the um, I guess the villain, or not really the villain, but he's more of the guy who lets, I forget the character's name, but Bruce Willis know that he's kind of unbreakable in a sense. So he's being the super villain of being super smart, but his bones are brittle as glass, so that's why his name is Glass. And the way the trailers have played out, it's just made the movie look absolutely awesome. So, yeah, Glass opening day for sure, because it just looks so cool. Um, there's another movie trailer. Oh, and then the new Jordan Peele movie later this year. I feel like that's going to come at quarter three or quarter later in the year, which is going to be, what is it, Us? And I feel like if you haven't seen the trailer for that movie, it looks absolutely awesome. Um, the trailer, I think, is honestly one of the best trailers I think I've ever seen for a movie. Um, the way, uh, just the way they use the soundtrack of that. What song is that? Uh, it's like a Warren G song, I think. Um, I forgot what it is, but yeah, totally take a look at the Us trailer. It's really good. It really kind of makes the movie kind of look, creepy. And if you ever watch Get Out, it was kind of that same vibe. And I really enjoyed Get Out. I didn't think it was that, amazing. Everyone should see it kind of movie. I thought it was like a like an eight, really. I mean, it's a good movie, but it's not something that's really like you have to go see this in the movie theater, as soon as possible. Kind of movie that everyone played it out to be. You have to seek it out, or whatever. Um, but besides that, um, yeah, those three movies I'm really looking forward to this year. I don't really know what else is too much on the release list for this year, just because I really haven't looked at it. For like upcoming movies or directors, I've never been a big fan of the Star Wars movies. I feel like uh, I've seen them all besides Solo. I just felt like the standalone movies I should probably avoid, just because I'm not a big fan of Star Wars in general. Um, uh, and because I'm not really a big fan, I didn't really grow up in that era. Um, and also that I feel like it's kind of just the fandom is just so intense when it comes to Star Wars. The people, like, if you verbally say, "Oh, I don't like Star Wars," you have people like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" but no, I feel like all the Star Wars movies. I feel like Force Awakens was decent, and then I feel like the newest Star Wars movie took the completely wrong turn in the series. I think if you wanted to make the Star Wars series interesting, if you saw the movie, then you should kind of know what I'm talking about. When Rey and Kylo Ren were given the opportunity to kind of either join together or part ways, I feel like if they were able to kind of like stay together and become like some actual force and have like Rey be different from the good guys, I feel like that would cause a very interesting complex in the universe, and it would be super interesting to see what would happen if it was Kylo Ren and Rey versus everyone else, or whatever ended up happening. But it just ended up turning out exactly how you'd think it turned out. A cookie cutter movie from a cookie cutter director, and nothing surprising, no risk taken, just fan service most of the time for people. So after that, there's really not too much to expect. Um, because I mean, once you get the subtle kind of first 20 minutes of the movie, you should be able to figure out where the rest ends. Usually in all those movies, you'll get it. So, uh, Infinity War, all the Marvel movies, in the first 20 minutes, if you're not able to figure out the ending of the movie, then maybe it might be a better movie than you thought, or maybe it's just worse. Maybe the ending is worse than what you'd expect from a good movie, I guess. Um, but yeah, I've seen all the popular Marvel movies, and I'll go see that with buddies or whatever. Or they're so popular that you just want to see them to see what people are talking about, and that happens. um, Trying to think. Yeah, I don't know, but anyways, I think this game is. I've been playing War Game this whole time, but really thinking about this game is actually really close. The other team has a pretty good advantage when it comes to availability. I haven't. Let's see. I'm only at 1,800 points, which is pretty low. I really haven't done much this game. Probably lost a lot, but in typical, don't be mad when I leave this game because I'm gonna leave. I'm not gonna wait 30 more minutes to finish this game out. But yeah, this is me. I just wanted to talk about. There's not much to talk about Wargame related. It's kind of a dead game. The community's kind of dead. Eugene's gonna die pretty soon, so why not just talk about something that I like, and you know I can make this formally, but I bet this will get like 100, 200 views about war game stuff anyway. Just people seeing if I'm talking about anything important, which I'm not. There's no war game news. I don't know anything. I don't know any upcoming news. I know absolutely nothing. I don't frankly care. Um, it's just me. I'm just playing war game and talking about movies because I like movies and TV shows. And the war game thing can be secondary to that, or what? It's going to be secondary to that, really, because there's nothing. I mean, there's nothing war game content related that you guys haven't seen in the thousands of videos that are on the internet about war game. This is a 10v10 that everyone's seen before. Um, I wish I could make the commentary a little bit more interesting to watch. Sure, because I like to um, visually be entertained whenever I'm watching something and listening at the same time. That's why whenever I watch a podcast, I watch the YouTube version and not the audio version, just because I like to, see Joe Rogan or fantasy footballers or whatever podcast that I usually watch, their facial, or their conversation. But it's the best I can do for now. Um, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed whatever this was supposed to be. I'm gonna leave this game as soon as I cut the recording because this is fucking boring. But yeah, if you guys really like movies or you're into movies like me, write a comment or something. Suggest a movie. Kind of either uh, I've either probably already seen it, to be honest, or maybe I haven't. maybe it's worth the watch. You know, maybe I kind of overlooked it, or you know, because I overlook movies all the time. I overlooked the Raid. The Raid was a pretty dope movie, and I overlooked it just because I thought it was kind of cheesy looking. But no, the Raid was a dope movie. Anyways, yeah. I hope you guys enjoying the new year. I hope everything's going well in your life. And hope your New Year resolutions, if you had one, it's going well. I don't have one. I didn't make one. But yeah, see you guys. If I, you know, I like doing this actually. I like talking about movies, and whether or not people listen or not, it's perfectly fine. I'll upload another one of these for sure, just because I like talking about TV shows and I like talking about movies and shit. So yeah, see ya.